Hello and good evening and welcome to SKTV. You're watching the Manipur Files. I'm your host Utpala Longjam. Tonight we'll be talking about a topic, violence at KUKI Peace Rally, a paradox. What began as a tribal solidarity march opposing the Meitei demand for ST status on the 3rd of May 2023 took a drastic turn that has since altered the history of Manipur. The violence that erupted on that day continues to persist. According to BJP spokesperson and Thadau tribe leader, Mr. Michael Lamjathang Haukip, every peace rally is Violence Day for Kukis. His ancestral home was vandalized and set on fire yesterday, marking the 3rd attack on his house since the onset of the ethnic conflict. To delve into this important topic, we have a panel of experts. Joining us in the studio tonight, we have Mr. P. SONAMANI, socio-political commentator. Welcome to the Manipur Files.
Thank you so much, Utpala.
Next, we have Dr. ARAMBAM NONI, Associate Professor, DMU. Welcome to Manipur Files. And last but not the least, we have Mr. N. SATYAJEET, Bureau Head, UNI. Welcome to Manipur Files, Mr. N. SATYAJEET. Once again, a warm welcome to our three panelists. And without further ado, let's carry on with the debate. My first question will be for Mr. P. SONAMANI. Sir, if the government is the government or local authorities taking an active role in preventing violence at peace rallies in Manipur? What is your opinion on that?
First, I thank you giving me this opportunity. SKTV, I bow my head to all of you and to the worldwide, the listeners, and also to my most experienced colleagues and the panelists. I bow my head to everybody. If there is a will, there is a way to do. Manipur government had been playing, dilly-dallying tactics, particularly the Hill administration. They have been given too much free rough. This is another factor, drawback. As I said, we people, Imphal is the capital of the Manipur, consisting of 35 communities. That is what the SPAD office, the record. This is one of the most the important and one of the mini India. We live very cohesively, very peacefully, so long. But if some section of people with the deliberate attempt since last 40, 50, 67 years onwards, discreetly and quietly and very covertly, if they had the intention to, grab and to destroy the Manipur and to completely bring under their clutch with the sole intentions that they want to balkanize it and they want to rule it, then I think this is too much. This has been going on more than half a century onwards. But they're so expert, they're so good. I don't blame the entire Chin KUKI Joe. There's so many good people. I have many good friends and many the senior officers under whom I work in some state, and many people, the Chin KUKI Joe, they conflict with the underground sections in Nagaland. I could manage to, protect their lives. Even at the cost of my lives, I was picked up because by another faction. They said, why did you support the KUKI? Then when we came to attack them, I said that I'm a policeman. I don't know the KUKI or Tangkul or the Naga underground. Again, another faction, when we tried to come, they came and picked me up again. And a lot of story. I'm happy this is the police job. No one should think that we're an Iron Man, that we have done something extra mile. No, not at all. I'm assigned to do it. My conscience says that both Chin, KUKI, Joe and other Naga community in the Nagaland, those were wearing, these were the Nagas, the undergrounds, and they played a very peculiar role, killing in each other. Now the question says, Manipur government, we're too late to wake up. We have given it too much free roam. As I said, 40, 50 years onwards, slowly, gradually, that they had been allowing the other people from other countries to come. This is the safest place. You stay here, you stay here, you stay here. They already pre-planned very meticulously. And they're successful up to some extent. But we people, we took it very easy, very easy. Previous government, I must squarely blame it. Previous government too knew very well But they say that in Manipur, people let them enjoy whatever is there. If the valley people areas and if it is a peace and tranquility, then the whole Manipur will be known. But they didn't know that what was the hidden agenda. Today, that is what we are suffering it. Anyway, what will happen is happen. If there is a will, government of Manipur could do it. Now, at this juncture, as per my observation, government of India is apparently behaving in a differently. So example, about the Manipur government, the peace initiatives to be taken by the government of India. 10 MLAs, including 2 ministers, they have already surrendered to the KNO or KNF or KSO, all people. Who are those? These are the imported illegal immigrants along with the sophisticated arms and ammunition. They organize it, gang, or they organize it to grab the Manipur and to balkanize. So these 10 MLAs, including 2 ministers, they have surrendered it. Then with whom then we should negotiate it? A popular chief minister elected democratically by the 35 community. They said that he is a communal. He is only for Meitei. What kind of a silly word they spell and they talk it? There is no such word. Naga 2 chief minister, they ruled for more than 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades. Have we ever said that, this Uncle Naga, they rule Manipur? No. For us, every section of people, this is a mini India. We respect, we live together, and we have been living it. We have this principle. But they have their other ill intentions there. Now, Bharat Sarkar is a different way, or different, different aim and object. They are negotiating perhaps to give something. Okay, you give something, no problem. But not compromise with an inch of land, so-called the separate the administration, then union territory, etc. This is the root cause. Now the chief minister, a popular leader and elected by the 35 lakhs people in the state, he is the chief minister, he is the head of the government. How he can sit the other bench, the opposite to those terrorist people, how they can? And why not these 2 ministers, including 10 MLAs, why they sit together? What is their demand? What is and what they would like to present in a very, very congenial atmosphere? They can do it. So, why they are surrendering their own? Because they are not eligible MLAs and the ministers in the Manipur Assembly. This is what we should realize it. What the chief minister, Mr. Biren Singh, I don't know him in person, but he's a chief minister. I said that he is doing his best. Now, I learned a few minutes before, government of Manipur, they have already sent the drone. Even from the drone, some firing is going on in some suspected areas. This is the development. This should have been done much earlier. We are late. We are too late. Let it be anything else. Government, you take every kind of measures, bring it peace and tranquility. One section doesn't want 34 community. We are together. Today the Kangpokpi and the Shanapati. Why this Naga tribals people, they are revolting against them for their so-called the peaceful, so-called the agitation. Why? This kind of fragmentation will come slowly, gradually among they themselves. They are not clicking well, but they are very difficult and they are very, very peculiar type of men. They have already cordoned the north block and the south block in Delhi just to give a wrong and the fake narrative in a very, very unplausible way. This is what we do not want. Bharat Sarkar, take it as serious. Take it serious. Manipur was a different nation. Kindly remember it.
Yes.
We were not under you. We got independent much earlier than to you. But still we feel we are Indian. But you are trying to, push back.
Alienate us.
In a different way. So that we join in undergrounds or we became a rebellion. Are you trying best that way? Please don't play such kind of a foul game. We are the Indian out and out. Be justice. Treat us as an Indian. Allow us to live. But be justice. Don't think that you will part 1 inch of land from Manipur. Please don't dream and please don't think. It will not be possible at all.
Thank you, Mr. P. SONAMANI. I'll come back to you with more questions in the next round. Moving on to Mr. ARAMBAM NONI, Dr. ARAMBAM NONI. The KUKI say that they stand united, demanding justice against the Meitei-driven agenda of annihilation. According to them, it's more than a protest, it's a battle cry for survival and freedom. Now, we all should realize that before May 3rd, 2023, all the communities that Mr. P. SONAMANI just mentioned, we were all living peacefully except for a few incidents here and there. There was absolute peace in the state. So what is it that, why is it that before the tribal solidarity we were able to live in peace, and suddenly from the tribal solidarity march on 3rd May of 2023, they've come up with this, obviously we can see that the one thing that they're always trying to sabotage is the peace process that that is being brought into the state. So why is it that they're always coming up with this false narrative and propaganda? What is it? Do you think that if the CM, if he steps down, is that going to bring peace in the state?
I think you have raised a couple of important questions. Let's get into the sequence of events. That's very important. If you look at the 3rd May 2023, you know, on the day itself, at the end, towards the end of the rally, there was a violence. And similarly, a rally was organized yesterday in particularly Kangpokpi and Churchandpur, and today you are seeing the similar kind of violence.
Yes.
So the sequence of events, if you look at, there is a connection between the organization of a rally and the possible design to inflate the violence on the ground. If you look at the spectacle of yesterday's rally in Kangpokpi and Churchandpur, you can see that, you know, there's absence of leadership. There's no coordination. But even then, there's MOVE kind of a group came out. They started vandalizing public vehicles.
Yes, right.
They're going rampage on everybody who's coming on the highways. So it looks like, you know, this whole design of arousing civilians to stand up against a particular community is being done in a very meticulously designed way. And the leaders of the so-called KUKI groups, including the Sioux groups, they must be held accountable for these sequence of violence, because if you look at the interviews given by people like Selen Haukev, he seemed to be speaking as if he is representing everyone in the group or in the community, and he seems to be defending all kinds of violence that is being perpetrated in the state of Manipur. Now, it is a very cowardly and dastardly act to see and to experience another killing of a lady and injuring another 4 persons today. Now, the question is, why has this happened? How has this happened? If you look at the question of why, it is a well-designed, planned violence. Because if you look at the newspaper reports and the claim of the Chief Minister of the State, he has said that yesterday probably that there is a possibility of a normalcy in the state within a 4 or 5 months' time.
Right.
Now, immediately after his claim being met by the CM of the state, you have seen this violence. So, as you rightly pointed out, there is a possibility that there is a design to sabotage any kind of a peace process in the state of Manipur. And more interestingly, if you could have read today's newspaper, it is well reported that the Tribal Hill Council of More has said that they are ready to host the repatriated Meitei in the More region or More town if the reciprocity from the Meiteis is going to come up. So these are very hopeful, you know, approaches, hopeful claims being made by different stakeholders. It seems like the violence that has been just perpetrated today in the afternoon at Kautru, there is a concerted effort to actually derail these kind of attempts. And we have seen that the leader of the Thadu community, Mr. Lamjathang's house has been ransacked, burned, and his old parents have not been even spared, you know. We have been seeing all these incidents. Now the question is, why has this sustained so long and so long and so in such a prolonged manner? Why this impunity being exercised by the armed volunteers or armed militants of the particular community which is involved? and it is crystal clear, it seems. And there is no doubt about it that there is a violation of the entire normalcy process.
Right.
And more interestingly, the complicity as apparently shown by the central security forces and the central government is also very, very disheartening, because if you look at the Kautruk area, there is a huge deployment of the central security forces. Despite their presence, how has these armed groups been able to use and fire and kill unarmed women and even cause serious injury to the civilian girls and persons in the area called Kautruk? Now there is a big question mark on what is the intent? What is the intent of these security forces? Why has the security forces not acted timely? And why has the militants been able to use drone propelled bombs? And these are videos available, and these videos speaks a lot. And it is very unfortunate that after having seen some reasonable experience of normalcy, at least absence of violence, there is a violence being repeated, and in the repetition of this violence we can have a sense that these particular groups who are playing havoc on the state's peace and tranquility, and particularly law and order, they are not interested in peace process.
Not at all, yes.
Even if some civilians, even if the civilians are desiring to have normalcy, they are trying to threaten, they're trying to sabotage it, and they're trying to disrupt any kind of process. So there is a lot of impunity being exercised by these groups. We have also heard a lot of reports from the local media channels that there is a lot of arrest and confiscation of weapons from the valley areas. But we have heard very less about these groups who are operating from the hill of the state. And if you look at the kind of the narrative that is being used by the KUKI Zo group, they are using words like annihilation, they are using like genocide,
Yes.
they are using words like ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
But the question now remains is how far these terminologies can be understood in the right perspective. It is equally responsible on the part of the KUKI Jo intellectuals, the leaders of the KUKI Jo people, that they should not play these very low politics of using big words, because they have never tried to understand the sufferings of the communities across the lines or across ethnic communities. They seem to be completely overwhelmed by their own narratives, which lacks a lot of authenticity. And
Yes.
their uses of big terms like those I mentioned is actually to attract global attention, nothing else. But on the ground, nobody can deny that today's attack was an unprovoked attack, and that too not on the armed people or armed groups, but
On the
completely
civilians.
on the civilians.
Absolutely.
This must be taken very seriously, and we expect the government of India and the law enforcing agencies will come very heavily on them. And as far as the legal provisions are concerned, proper investigation must be done, and all the groups involved, all the chiefs who are operating, who are having their jurisdiction over these areas must be held accountable. They must be brought to justice for having allowed to happen these kind of violence and kill civilians like the one that we have witnessed today. On the whole, what I want to say is that if you look at the rally, that happened yesterday, there was an attempted design to actually produce a chaotic environment in the hills, particularly where KUKIs are dominating, and they are trying to use youths and misguide them even, and to actually pit against one another. And if you look at the kind of the rally that we have seen yesterday, it is completely a big testimony for everyone to wake up, and the government of India and the national media or the mainstream media must now look into these designed perpetration of violence. And when the central government and the state governments are claiming that they are in the process of peace building, why has this not been reported well?
Yes.
Why has this not been questioned? Whatever differences one has, it has to be resolved through democratic processes, but in the name of minority, in the name of ethnicity.
Yes.
They are simply trying to arouse sentiments and sustain this campaign through meticulously designed violence. And this must be condemned, and the media fraternity has a big responsibility. Human rights groups also have a big responsibility to bring these people to justice so that they don't repeat these kind of violence, because as the previous speaker had rightly pointed out, Manipur is a multi-ethnic society.
Yes.
And you cannot imagine a separate territory for each and every ethnic group. If you
Absolutely
happen to
right.
do so, you will have to have 35 states within India,
Yes.
and within Manipur.
Within-
So these are some very, very serious matter, and now these dirty game must be stopped. And the civilians' rights and their property, their security must be protected. And it is very unfortunate that the central security forces are not so far, been able to actually mitigate these violence when they are present very much in between the areas where conflicts are there. So I think this is about being accountable. This is about being transparent, and this is about being protective of civilian rights and not taking side with any of the groups.
Any of
So
the
I
groups,
think
right,
these if you talk about you are asking about this resignation with CM, if you look at the nature of violence, I think this is no more a violence at the level of civilians. This is completely a violence that is happening at the level of the state, which is like attacking the institutions of the state, be it be the central security forces, be it be the state security forces. We have had, I think, 18 security forces, including the Assam Rifles and Sikh Regiment, and state forces being killed in the process. And this has to be taken very seriously. So I think if you look at the nature of violence that has happened in the recent days, I think this has hardly to do anything with the changing of the regime. It looks like these elites of the KUKI groups, they are trying to actually enhance their propaganda by increasing violence and by repressing the multitude of voices coming within the KUKIZO identity.
Okay.
And if you look at the tribal identity politics also, these rallies were not allowed to be happen in Kamjong. This was also not restricted to happen in Ukhrul
Yes.
and Senapati districts as well. So it's a rather very complicated situation on the ground, and we have to condemn these kind of unprovoked violence, and they must be held accountable.
Thank you so much for your views. I'll ask the next question to Mr. N. Satyajeet. As Dr. NONI, ARAMBAM NONI rightly pointed that security forces haven't acted promptly. This was the case a year ago. This has always been the case where the security was always an issue, especially in the valley area. Now, the stark difference between the rallies which were carried out by Meiteis so far and the peace rallies by Meiteis and the peace rallies by the KUKIs. Meiteis have always been about integrity and protecting the integrity of the state and bringing back peace in Manipur, whereas the KUKI peace rallies, which is actually a paradox because there's always violence involved in it, they're always talking about separate administration. Now, why isn't that they are being held accountable for their conduct? And so far we've seen that the government has turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to the violence that's been happening. So can you tell us why is it that the security forces are not being able to act, especially with the violence that erupted today, the fresh violence that resulted in the death of a young woman and injury to a lot of civilians? Can you give us your views on that?
Utpala, first of all, I condemn the criminal activities of the resulting in the death of a woman. It was a very unfortunate incident. Her daughter was also injured. But as we speak, I just heard that another person was also killed. So I think the number of casualties has increased. 2 persons died, including a woman. and four persons, including a security personnel, he got injured also.
Okay.
So I condemn the attack on my personal capacity.
Yes.
I think this is a fight between humanity and evil, because we have to understand that we are fighting an evil force. Evil force, they don't have any reasoning. So I think when we are fighting an evil force, our security personnel, our police, BSF, CRPF, Assam Rifles Army, I think they have to rise to the occasion, and they should respect they should understand what exactly is going on. And as you asked about the security situation, it is very confusing also, and we do not know who is in charge. And if we had a responsible person sitting in Manipur, I think the security advisor or the DGP, they should have gone directly to the place where the woman was shot dead, because the precious life of a woman has been lost. And another man, he got just killed about as we speak. It is very unfortunate. It has increased to 2. So why I'm saying that this is a clash between humanity and evil is because they are not able to project themselves as a sane person, as persons to whom we can deal, because we are speaking about humanity. As you mentioned about the rally, I will not say that it was basically a Meitei rally. I would say that it was a rally taken out, those which took place in the hill areas in Manipur Valley, Senapati and other places. That the rally were taken out by indigenous people, because the Meiteis, the Tangkhuls, the Kabuis, they took part in it.
Okay.
Whereas in the rallies which took place on May 3, 2023, and the one which took place yesterday, they were extremely violent.
Yes.
Because they were not. So I think it is a failure of the government, because it is a failure of the government because they should not have allowed such a rally to take place, first of all.
Exactly.
And if it occurred, then they should have controlled it. And the onus of controlling such a violent rally, it lies entirely on the government. It is the failure of the government. And so I think we pay taxes to the government. Why are people giving taxes to the government? It is because it is the responsibility of the government to protect the life and property of all the citizens. It is our fundamental right. It is also our right to carry out rallies and all. It is acceptable, but it is not acceptable if violence are occurring. And so it is the responsibility of the government to control it. The other issue is, which we have been discussing, is about the ethnic cleansing aggression which you mentioned. I think if you look at the history of Manipur, the 3 places where the KUKIs are claiming that the Meiteis have been evicted. These were basically, first, for example, if you take the example of More, Meiteis, Nagas, they were living there peacefully.
Yes.
Then Kangpokpi also, the Meiteis were living peacefully. Then Churachandpur also. I think the ethnic cleansing of Meiteis took place from those places because they are new entrants. They came later. Some came in the 18th century, some especially after 88, after because since we are neighbor to Myanmar, we face lots of problems. They are facing lots of problems. They are not able to provide good jobs. They are not able to provide security, so they are moving to a greener pasture, looking for greener pasture. And so I think it is a meticulously planned project by the KUKIs to cleanse out the Meiteis from this specific area. So I think it's the reverse of exactly what they are saying. Then the other issue is the historical connection. If you look at the history, as SONAMANI pointed out, even before India drafted the constitution, Manipur had already drafted its constitution. It was in vogue also, and so we were in an advanced stage. So, and if you look at the entire history, we have a very long history, and we normally follow the chronology of saying that the Ningthokja clan started from 33 AD. But we have to understand that, for example, the Moirang dynasty, it started around 45 BC. And if you look about Kuman dynasty, if you look about Angom, I mean, they have all different dynasties. Ultimately, the Ningthokjas, they conquered all the 6 or 9 kingdoms, and they became the superior power. So we normally accepted the Ningthokja history. So if you look at our history also, ours is a very compact, and we have a very long historical legacy which cannot be destroyed. And we have given lots of blood also to save our motherland. For example, if you look at the, we remember the 7 years devastation, and then if you look about the Utpala, then if you remember about the Second World War, what we have done to protect our territorial integrity is tremendous, is immense. And nobody has the right to take it away from us, and they should learn it. And the other issue is, I think they are spreading venom. They're very spreading venom because if you look at their narratives, I mean, there's no sanity in the words they are using.
Yes.
If you look at their press conferences, the statements, it is full of hatreds and it's full of lies. And when you construct a house, if the foundation is wrong, if the foundation is not proper, it will collapse. So I think the entire premises of our KUKI friends is wrong. The very foundation is wrong because it is based on evil, it is based on falsehood, and it is based on violence. And since it is based on falsehood, it will collapse on its own. And I think this is the time that the government realizes what actually is going on. I think the government understands it, but I think we need a proper person who can execute also. I mean, if you are not doing anything, then you are complicit to the crimes. For example, the killing of a woman is a very heinous crime. We should condemn it, and the DGP should go there, the security advisor himself should go there, and they should go until the perpetrators are arrested and proper criminal activities are taken up. If we do not take up such activities, then we should not be able to give justice to the woman. She was a very young person.
With a young child.
Just 32 years. 32 years is nothing nowadays because people living in 70s, 80s, they are going for the post of president. I think we should condemn it, and I think the government. This is the time for the government to act.
Right.
I would not say that it was not acting, but I think it was in a deep slumber.
Okay.
Though it may be a little harsh, but it was in deep slumber. It should wake up now and act now.
Right, thank you so much for your views. Continuing on what Mr. Satyajeet just said, Mr. P. SONAMANI, what are the procedures that the law and that should be followed for law and order? And also, in all this chaos that's been happening, CM Biren assured, as Professor ARAMBAM NONI said earlier, he assured that there would be peace within the next 5 to 6 months, and he also said that there's going to be no, the state is going to remain intact. There's going to be no, the demands are not going to be met. So can we just assess the possibility of peace within the next 5 to 6 months? Is it a possibility? And now, after he made the statement yesterday, there's fresh violence which has been observed today. So can you give us your views on that?
Yes, Utpala. First, I endorse to my colleagues their statement and their explanations is a very, very wonderful, plausible. I appreciate them. Your questions is, you see, Manipur citizens, they, according to me, these illegal immigrants, as they are not Manipur citizens, they are being hired. So they had been pouring it very clandestinely or maybe with the support of some states and our local leaders. By and by, their numbers have been increased. And even the indigenous people like Nagas, who can dispute? Nagas and the Manipuris are only the two indigenous the community. In the history, no other the tribes or no communities have been included except these Nagas and the Manipuris and this Meitei. Yet,
so I'm sorry to interrupt you here. So do you think that the KUKIs are being backed up, or they are being by some greater force?
You see that
do they have a backup?
No,
behind
KUKIs came very lately. Very lately when Churachan Maharaj, today is the what they call it themselves, the Lamka. This is Churachan Port. This the few hundreds people KUKIs came about 2-3 centuries before. Then he has given the shelter there. Okay, you settle it here. This was a beginning, slowly graduated. But this Chin KUKI Jo, comparatively with the Manipur and other communities and other tribes of the Manipur, they have worldwide. They have scattered it. See, Bangladesh, I have seen in Chittagong, hill treks, area, many cookies in the Chin Cookie Joe there. Then again, the Assam is there, then Tripura is there, then the part and parcel in Nagaland, little bit. Of course, now their accessibility is totally stopped now. They cannot be there. In Manipur, then the Myanmar and Laos and what called, yes, Thailand. They were being sent out from there. It's from there because the Chin Cookie Joe were sent out from the Laos and the Thailand and the erstwhile Burma because of their aspiring too much, because of their too much ambition. Even the Saigon, they were there. They themselves, they started that we are independent country, so we are independent. So General Nevin, when he came, he completely finished them. They have no place because their aim and object is really this is not the way to approach. So India, particularly in the Manipur, found a very soft place. As I repeatedly mentioned, that our leaders, they did not want to move it at all beyond the Manipur Valley or Imphal Valley. They wanted to concentrate and they wanted to rule. What the hell then hills people, particularly in the Chin Cookie Joe, slowly, gradually, by and by, they had been coming, they had been staying in the Mizoram, then the old kind of trainings had been given, then electoral photo identity card was being false, they're implicated, that he is my nephew, she is my nephew, hundreds of thousands. When they're being totally coached or they're being totally that themselves they can claim that they're an Indian along with the Aadhaar card false, they will make it and they will send it to the Manipur, they will send it to the Assam. Today in Assam they can't remain peacefully. Even in Manipur, even in the Bangladesh, they were being sent it out, there were the firing, etc. So wherever they go, they create some problem. This is a very peculiar community. Whatever might be the reason, their reason is not at all acceptable. And they have to come down. I am afraid sooner or later, they will have to regret. Now the major chunk of the Nagas in Manipur, belatedly, they have woken up. They know that Manipur cannot be balkanized or Manipur cannot be scattered in this manner, simply by force. Even the Nagas, they were not allowed, as my friend, they have already narrated, that even in the More, they were not allowed in their own land. So they had to migrate from the More to other, because the intention is to grab the More, the international the center, the trade center, because they're planning very meticulously. The plan, they are educated people, so they can do it. Even the Manipur is completely changed it because of 1958 or 59, there's some IAS officer there from their community. They have changed, they overhaul it. So we did not take it very serious. Now, this is not going to help them. If their own house, if they set fire, then who is going to douse it? Initially, they thought that they will be able to completely wipe out and these Metis from the hill areas and other. Sorry, by saying that this is their own statement, we never differentiate that you are Metis or you are what clan or you are what religion. We are not concerned. We even in Chin, Mizo, Kuki, they're also our brothers. Many of our colleagues, many of our brothers and our friends, they have also married the many tribal ladies. Even the some Kukis also have married the, other side of the coin. They have also married the Manipuri women. So what? We live very peacefully. Suddenly, too much aspiring is not good. So now, our handicap is what the government of India, why she's looking at Manipur in the jaundice eyes. Secondly, followed by the mainland, this Indian media. I very strongly, I say that, and I dare to say that, you must have seen that the Editor Guild of India, some people, they came and how they have created a havoc. Even it went up to the wrong narrative, fake narrative. What this ultimately, these are all the army brief. I'm happy that army also now slowly, gradually involved in politics, which was never happened. This is some change is coming up. I'm coming that topic, if you permit me. I'll come back after 1 or 2 minutes. So they went, then the Shiva Chandrachud, Chief Justice, even he had to surrender. If all this, the media people, if they commit some minor mistake, if we go and arresting them, if we go on them, if we go on punishing them, perhaps the Indian media will be in a different trend. I don't know. We have no right to discuss the merits and demerits of the Supreme Court, but this is something which we are not ready to buy the theory. So Indian media, I say that we are Manipur media and the Indian media. There is a tug of war. We have no such ill feeling, and we have no, rather considered that Chin Kuki Jo is our enemy. No, they're all friends.
Yes.
Many of the bureaucrats, they themselves from there. Even you see in the police hierarchy. Even LM Khote came, then he has gone, then the P Dongal came, he gone, then the C Dongal came, he is here, C Dongal after that, again the Mr. L Kalun will come, then again Clay Khongsa will come. It is according to their merits they have occupied. We have no jealous. Why?
Right.
They are Manipur people, and they have been beautifully, they have been staying it, and everybody has accepted it. Why they have changed such kind of view by some people, by the legislature? Manipur, this then legislature, they are the people that who are orchestrating behind this. Are they really not too much that aspiring here? When after giving you and getting you enough facilities and enough privileges, who have never complained, we have never thought of it. Who is a Tankul or who is a Muslim? Alimuddin was only one MLA. He was made to be the chief minister by whom? If you say that the majority Meitei, what kind of what you talk?
Yes.
When LM Kauti was the DGP, have we ever said that no, he's a KUKI DGP? Please don't create such kind of a misunderstanding. Your mentality is too low. Never we said like that. Indian media has become totally against the Manipuris. Why? Why? This is the questions. You are always trying to, produce or to highlight in the fake narrative like the Chin Kuki Jo. There is a word called that the crowd funded. I don't know how far that. Have you become quite closer to the crowd funded? Yes, Chin Kuki terrorists, they're very rich. There is a poppy cultivator, 100 crore, 2,000 crore, 5,000 crore, they can do it, a lot of havoc.
Yes.
But the Manipur climate and the Manipur state have been completely ruined by these people. So government of India, in a very simple nutshell way, it is meaningless to discuss. What the government of India, what do you want to do? Your special bureau, your IB, your SIB are in the Lumpel or all over the world. What is the report? We do not know. Your administrative officers in Manipur, then again armed forces people, they have become just mute spectators. In the crisis of this crisis, when the hundreds of people got killed, 60,000-70,000 people have become displaced, their houses in a small place. Still, do you want the government of India that you want to see that our more people, getting killed more and more? Is this the motive? Your opinion is something you are playing hide and seek game. Government of India, please don't pay. Please don't play such kind of attention. 355 article, you quietly impose. You have not issued any notification. Chief Minister, you have arrested. And virtually he is arrested. He is a handicapped security advisor and the Excellency Governor. About him, we are not supposed to discuss merit and demerits. Am I right? But we are here to appeal you, Your Excellency, because you are as good as 352 and 356 article. Also, more or less, you are using as our Chief Minister has no hand in this regard. Now, what the army's role? Army has just came and they have called on you, then they're sitting down, then they're getting killed. 37 national highway, 32 the number 2 national highway. Simply one answer, I appeal you, the government of India. You reply to us today. If I'm wrong, you arrest me and you put me behind the bar. I will not have any complaint. But you give me one answer, Bharat Sarkar. And the Manipur, the government, now Manipur government is hated by the governor now. 50-50 chief minister, भाई तुम खाओ पियो तुम ऐश करो, मैं गवर्नर हूँ, मैं ऐसे सिक्योरिटी एडवाइजर हूँ, हम देखेंगे आपको. This is what the Amit Shah, Honorable Home Minister, seem to have passed on it. What is the role of the 37 National Highway and the National Highway 2? This is called the National Highway. In your language, you call it Rastriya Marg. Why you are not allowing us to freely move? Why you put us behind the bar? Reason being, Chin Kuki Jo, they always go on firing it. But why you cannot protect your own national highway, which is not under the power and without the capacity of the Manipur government? What happened to your 18 lakhs, your armed personnel?
Right. Thank you, Mr. P. Sonamani. I really do agree with you, and I would love for you to continue on this, but I'll come back to you because of time constraint. I'll just move on to the other panelists.
My pleasure.
And if we do have the time, you can please continue.
Please, my pleasure.
So my next question for Professor Dr. ARAMBAM NONI. Well, Mr. P. Sonamani said that the Kukis are a peculiar communities, looking at the history. Now, CM Biren stated that he will not step down. The past few, I think these statements have come from him in the past few days, and as we mentioned, as I asked you in the previous round, even if he does, would that really end the KUKI demand for a separate administration? Because basically what they're saying is they want CM Biren to step down, and especially citing the viral audio that was released a week ago. So after all, well, CM Biren has actively addressed some critical issues, we have to admit that, such as poppy cultivation, illegal immigration and KUKI land encroachments. So can you tell us your views on how will this problem end, when and how? How will it end?
It will be very difficult to say it, but what we can do is to study and understand the nature of the problem. So first is that we can see and sense that the KUKIs or politicians, I'm not using the civilians, I'm using the politicians, and I'm using the terms like elites, you know. They have extensive interests. They seem to have extensive interests in the continuation of the violence. That's one. And I'll give you the reasons why. And we are talking in English language, and this discussion is going to be very important. If they happen to listen to us, that will be very good, and we can have a very democratic dialogue on this. We can debate, and we can find out what is black and white. The second proposition is that what they're trying to do is to weaponize this identity. We call it weaponization of ethnicity. And they know that by weaponizing ethnicity, they can arouse their civilians to fight and indulge in violence. And that is what they've been doing in this India, Myanmar, Bangladesh region, right? So that's the second proposition. And the third proposition is that they seem to have no respect for things like secularism. They seem to have no respect for things like democracy. And they, of course, have no respect and concern for multicultural existence. If you look at the nature of violence they perpetrated in Moreh and Chanpur, it looks very clear that they are in a process of annihilating some particular community, and Métis in this case. So it must be told very, very loud and clear to the international community, and they have been wrongly feeding information to this international community. By using terms like the one that we had mentioned in the first round, it is very, very unfortunate that they are using big terms, but actually denying the very democratic processes that tries to germinate on the ground. And therefore, I don't see any difference between these armed militia leadership and the intellectuals, because they are completely weaponizing narratives. And this is very, very wrong. And they would say, you know, that Chanpur was never part of Manipur, for instance. And they would say Manipur did not have any territory, for instance. They would say KUKIs were never part of this and that. But if you look at the treaty-making power of Manipur state, for long, since the 13th and 14th century, we have had this Manipur as a territorial political body. It had the experiences of endorsing and engaging in international treaty-making processes with the San state, with Burma, and subsequently with the British, and then with the government of India. If you look at the white paper that was published by government of India in 1950, it says very clearly that the territorial size of Manipur is 8,620 square miles. But the KUKI intellectuals would keep on harping on the idea that there is only 700 square kilometers. This is completely a provocation, actually, lacking content. And I'm ready for any kind of debate on this, because we have the historical facticity to which their forefathers had even agreed. For instance, the first speaker of the independent Manipur government was Tiangkham, and he was a Paiti. Now nobody can deny this. Even if you want to do so, you cannot. But the KUKI intellectuals would harp on denying this historical facticity of their own forefathers. This is actually a designed attempt to actually arouse conflict. at the level of academics, at the level of civilians, and misguides youths to make them completely ethnic-oriented citizens. Now, this prolonged campaigning, this prolonged orchestration of civilians at the level of ethnicization has actually led to these kind of violence. And I was talking about their apathy and disinterestedness towards democracy. If you look at the Myanmar problem, it's all about democracy. It's all about desire for democracy. But how come that you have arrived at the politics where you want to annihilate communities, where you want to kill other communities? This has nothing to do with democratization. This has nothing to do with secularization. If you're really interested in democratization, secularizing politics, you need to talk to people. You need to talk to progressive people. You need to stop these inter-ethnic violence. You have to respect the civilians' rights. Even if it happened at some point, you have to calm down your people and lead people towards democratic dialogue, which is not happening. And they are going to use this incident of violence today in a very different kind of a manner, because they would even go to any extent of using these as, generating fake narratives. And unfortunately, given the long design of ethnicizing administration and politics, we have come to a situation where the state institutions seem to be not really operating in the hills, comparatively in comparison to the valley. So it's a very complicated problem, but your question, I feel that we are facing a serious aggression. It's a very serious aggression. It's a serious violation of rule of law. And it is very, very difficult and very disheartening to witness that these perpetrators are not going to be probably arrested, because it looks like for the last so many months we have been urging the central and the state government to stop these kind of violence, but still the government is running short of these expectations. But I also want to highlight that this has nowhere happened in any part of the world where a particular section of people is confined to 8% of the land, and they are not allowed to have access to the outside world except through air connection. Now this is a serious violation, and a violation of human rights. It's almost like a crime against humanity, where you are confining.
And we're talking about the majority
yes,
of
the
course. State.
So this has to be brought out very clearly to the global community, and this has to be condemned. And as our co-panelists have rightly pointed out, their narratives are completely tilted toward hatred and venomous, and therefore these kind of narratives are being completely fed into the mindset of the mainstream people. And it is very unfortunate that the government at the center has not acted tightly and appropriately so far. We expect the government at the center will understand this complicity and the expectation of people in the valley, particularly, as our previous panelists also talked about, how the highways have become completely inaccessible for us. These are some serious issues. This has led to economic rights violation. This has violated our right to free movement. But if you are talking about the KUKI's absence in the valley, it came much later. First, the Meiteis were evicted from these areas, the More and Chochanpur region. So it's like a retaliatory violence from the valley. Of course, there was a violence. There was violence in the valley. We can't deny it. But it happened during a peak time. The problem. But we expect that this time we are getting gradually towards a normalcy. But we have the right to question the government, and we have every right to say that we want to be a stable society where the aggression of the foreign elements and aggression of militancy must be stopped. Thank you.
Must be stopped. Thank you so much for your insight, valuable insight, Dr. ARAMBAM Noni. So continuing on what Dr. Noni just said, the KUKIs keep talking about the atrocities that have been meted out to them and the crime against them. But if you look at it logically, there have been crime against the Meiteis as well, and it's still continuing, and it's mostly the KUKIs who are the perpetrators, so to say. So far we've had so many discussions, and what the Meiteis are doing is just defending, and till date we're still defending. Now, ex-governor of Manipur, Anusuya Uki, also as it came in the papers today, she had a talk with the Honorable President of India, Mrs. Draupadi Murmu, regarding the conflict in Manipur. So at this point, Mr. N. Satyajeet, as a closing question to this debate, can you tell us why is it that the Chief Minister still thinks that a visit by the Prime Minister is not required, and if you feel that it would bring, if he visits, do you think that would bring some sort of a solution to this conflict?
Utpala, we are appealing to the Prime Minister to come here because he is the Chief Executive Officer. He is de facto ruler of the country.
Right.
He is supposed to execute activities. And there is a basic difference between the coming of the Prime Minister and other ministers. If the Home Minister comes, only the Home Ministry will be involved. But when the Prime Minister comes, all the ministries will be activated. There are more than, we have about 40 to 50 departments in the entire country, in the entire government. All will be activated. And they have different roles also. The security aspect, then the defense aspect, everything can be discussed. The silence of the Prime Minister, it is unfortunate, and it has cost the lives of so many people. And inaction has led to the deterioration of the situation, and we have seen that the crisis, we have seen, 18 months is a very, very long time.
Yes.
We have seen surgical strikes. The government of India has done surgical strikes. And what we want to say is, people, I am using the word people, it is quite people, we may say demons also. But I am saying with people from our own territory, they are dropping bombs, they are killing our women and children, they are capturing them, and they have made them disappear. More than 31 people have disappeared.
Right.
It is happening within our own state, within our country. It is the attacks are not coming, the perpetrators are not from another country. When we can do surgical strikes, when we can do other international activities, when he can become the Vishwaguru, the global leader,
Right.
why can't he or the Prime Minister come down here and do surgical strikes against the perpetrators, against the evildoers, against those people who are responsible for creating the crisis in Manipur? And if you look at those people who are demanding separate administration also, I mean, it really started with the Sioux agreement with the government of India and government of Manipur. It's a tripartite agreement. But those people, most of them are not from Manipur. One is from Myanmar, one is from Nagaland, one is from we say different words, but they are not from Manipur. So people who have no locus standi, those who are foreigners, they are now demanding separate administration. I mean, the people of Manipur should understand that we have lots of activities to do. Because if you look at the aggressions, it is at a very large scale. For example, such incursions could lead to the downfall of very empires. Mughal empires, the British came as merchants. Mughal Empire went down. Such powerful kingdom. Then there's such a big kingdom like China. It fell to Opium War. And if you look at the South American history also, the last Inca emperor, his name was Atahualpa. The entire Inca civilization was destroyed by the Spanish in the 15th century.
Right.
So we have to understand that, as Noni pointed out, that we are a very in a position, the geographical location is very very subtle, because on the other side we have China, we have Myanmar, and we have Bhutan, then we have Myanmar also. So we have to be ready for any sort of aggressions. This new aggression is extremely dangerous. Just like the opium, we have opium, then we have poppy, then we have weapons. Then I mean, all evils have come together and attacked us. I think this is the perfect time for the Prime Minister to come here and defend us. If he treats us, and if he treats us as Indians, as Rahul Gandhi said in the Parliament, that I think the government is not treating the people of Manipur as Indians.
Right.
I think we should not be allowed, to be exterminated from this earth. We are living in a very precarious situation. I think, as you rightly mentioned, only the intervention of the Prime Minister at the highest level will only show to the people that the government of India is ready to save the people of Manipur from external aggression, from evildoers, and from those people who are killing our women and children. And I think this is the time for the people of Manipur to respond also.
Right.
And we should act together, and we should be ready to wipe out these evil forces.
Thank you so much for your views. This brings us to the end of our debate for tonight. I'd like to thank our panelists for your time and for joining us in this discussion and for your valuable insights. And there's a lot we can take away from here today. And to the viewers, thank you for tuning in. This the main question, the big question that remains is, when will this violence end? The Indian government has the capacity to end this violence, and when is it going to end? Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching SKTV Manipur Files. To stay aware and updated, this is your host Utpala Longjam signing off for tonight. Thank you once again and have a good night.
Thank you.